I want to talk to you about talent and the team. So
Yeah.
I'm a big sports guy. I love basketball. I love football. You know, the day we're recording here, we just had the national championship game last night. And, of course, we see this all the time. We see in the NBA, you've got the Golden State Warriors who have ridiculous talent, yet they really have managed to become a cohesive team. It's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Then there are times where you got, the Duke squad from this year, crazy talent, didn't come together to be able to beat a team that was not as talented. Let's take Virginia. They beat them in the regular season, but Virginia wins it all. Here's what I want to ask you. We hear this all the time. I've got some talented people. They're amazing, but they're like a bull in a china shop, and they cause a lot of friction, a lot of problems, maybe even so far as to be called toxic in the office, within the team, the culture, but they produce great results, and the leader is so afraid to get rid of them because they're afraid that the revenue and the company's going to fold. Curious at your comment on that type of situation.
You're talking the difference between Daymond at 30 and Daymond at 50.
I love it.
The one at 30, I kept a bunch of them around.
Right.
And business did well, but you know what? I had a knot in my stomach and a heavy turnover. And then I turned around later on, though, and looked at the business, and we didn't really do that well. We were on borrowed time because some of those great producers were also producing angry customers.
Right.
They were producing, they were moving big numbers, but not the margin we wanted to move. And because, we were drunk off the great revenue, but not realizing that we were corroding the brand. So I get rid of them. Yeah. I get rid of the ones who are not, they don't know how to play their role. They don't give credit to other people who are doing amazing jobs. They think that the idea of a boss or a leader is to tell everybody, get them coffee, shut up, it's my way or the highway. And I get rid of them immediately. And I do that with partners too, in any aspect of my life, friends, investments, and people who work with me, or work for me.
Right. You don't seem to be struggling. You didn't fall apart. The business, your life hasn't fallen apart because you got rid of a cancer.
I'm still around. I'm still around.
You are.
For everybody watching this, let me tell you something. Hopefully, they're doing really well, or they're going to do really well. There's two type of people that come to you. Number one, the first group of people that as soon as you make a couple of dollars, they all have a $5,000 and $10,000 problem. They all have that problem. And as soon as you say no, they disappear. But guess what? You see them 10 years later, they're okay. Yeah. The others half are the ones who are a-holes, and the ones who are, they're doing the wrong thing, and it's not, you don't connect morally, and they are toxic. And you know what? You let them go, you're still going to do okay.
Yeah, that's good. What you've learned now from, since we're having this fun 30 to 50 thing. I didn't mean it to turn in such a pattern, but it's actually really great. No problem. Yeah, what you've learned about hiring, what you've learned about actually putting the right people on first so that you're not having to deal with them later.
Yeah, challenging, because I've learned that, when you hire somebody initially, and if they're a poor performer, or even for them just to gel with the team, it takes anywhere from 3 to 6 months. And if they're a poor performer, the first 6 months, you're trying to give them some leeway. And then all of a sudden you realize after a year, they were just poor performers. So what I try to do, first of all, is I give everybody a 3-month trial basis and I see how they perform. They're on their, this dating process means they're on their best behavior, and we see how it goes. Very hard to find that talent, though. Extremely hard. You got to find people that if they are super talented and you hire them, I hire them on a couple of bases. Number one, this is your job, and this is very clear what you are being paid to do. Mm-hmm. Number two, you need to be able to be flexible like a Swiss Army knife and help and jump in at the team because you are a team player. And number three is that in the event that you have something or you do an overperform, I'm going to give you some profit sharing, or we could start a new division or a new business, because the way that that happens is Number one, by giving them the instruction of what you want them to do or deliver, then they are very clear. A lot of times employees are, they're not productive, but it's not because they're not busting their butt. They're doing one thing that they assume you want them to do, and they're working 24 hours a day on it when you just didn't share with them, hey, you know what, switch gears and move over here because here's where I need you the most. So it all stops at the leadership, right? So that's why you do number one. Number two, as a team player, what happens is when they become a Swiss Army knife and they jump in here and there, maybe they didn't do that well in this area, but they're better over in this area. And until they interact with the rest of the team, so you can get some people to give testimonies on why this person is of value, then you will really know who they are because you kept them siloed over here, right? And the last one is about making them some kind of profit share or beneficial, beneficiary in your businesses, because if they're really a superstar, and if you don't give them whether acknowledgement and or some form of support due to their outperformance, they're going to go off and either be stolen by somebody else or they're going to become your competitor.
Right.
You don't want either one of those.
That's right.
So those are that's the way I've been doing it over the last couple of years, and it has seemed to work.
Yeah, well, I love the last piece because you've given them skin, and they got their skin in the game, and so when they win, they get directly rewarded for that, and then they're more missional than just selfish. So I love that.
100%. I mean, there is a study out there that says employees would take acknowledgement over money and sex. That's
exactly right. Listen, that's exactly right. They want to be acknowledged. The recognition and reward, bigger deal than compensation.